Hi, welcome to this demo of Read Ahead. I am Roxanne Russell. I began my career as an English teacher and moved into instructional technology and design over the years. I have never lost my passion for getting students interested in and excited about engaging with the written word. So it is in that capacity that I am here today to tell you about my content literacy passion project, Read Ahead. Our big idea with Read Ahead is that you can bring together student experience, teacher practice, and machine learning to fundamentally change reading instruction and assessment. Imagine a tool that helps students complete their reading assignments, but also invites their voices into the process of reading, not by peppering them with questions, but by asking them to play with the flow of words. A tool that invites multiple perspectives from the experts, the teachers in the classroom, to converge with the tool, making it smarter and better along the way. That's the big idea, and in this presentation we will go through step by step to see how we can build from simple text-based lessons to a whole new way to make literacy instruction more equitable and effective. I have a very specific goal for what I hope to happen as a result of our time together today. I want to get you interested in using Read Ahead in your classroom, your schools, and your district. If you teach students from 4th grade up to college level, you will be able to quickly see how useful Read Ahead could be in your classroom, whether that's social studies, science, math, or English language arts. I will cover the following topics in this demonstration: a review of the Read Ahead research and growth, a group of examples showing how Read Ahead works, and a plan for getting started with Read Ahead in your school. I started working on Read Ahead with a fellow student while I was working on my PhD in Instructional Technology and Design at Georgia State University in 2008. We were interested in keeping teenagers' eyes on their reading task long enough to complete independent, sustained silent reading assignments for up to an hour each week. It started with PowerPoint presentations to present key ideas from text passages before students read the entire passage. 10th grade readers had enough success with gains in reading comprehension and reading motivation as compared to a non-treatment group that our initial research continues to be cited in textbooks and research articles today. The outcomes from our initial research were encouraging enough to push me to develop Read Ahead into a tool that could be easily used by teachers to create the same reading presentations that I had painstakingly and manually created in PowerPoint. It has required years of hard work and significant personal money investment in software and artificial intelligence development teams, but I have not been able to let it go. We watched it work. Reactions, such as the one you see here from Donna Alverman, one of our most distinguished professors of adolescent literacy, have kept me inspired and focused on continuing to pursue the potential of Read Ahead to transform how we approach content and digital literacy in schools. All of this past research and development work has culminated in the Read Ahead tool and vibrant community that exists today. A machine learning, content literacy tool that transforms any digital text into a guided reading activity in seconds. You, your students, parents can use Read Ahead with any web content that they want to read today and create engaging reading experiences across all levels and content areas. Our user base continues to grow organically. Multiple school districts in Georgia and South Carolina, as well as a homeschool collective out west, are using Read Ahead through Clever, an automated single sign-on pass-through tool that makes it easier for users to quickly access Read Ahead without needing to create accounts. Please make a note of this. If your school uses Clever, it is a simple flip of a switch by the Instructional Technology Coordinator to make this tool available to everyone in your school or even your district. Just as importantly, and what gets me really excited, is that Read Ahead is growing organically with over 1,000 non-clever users all across the U.S., including a Spanish language class through the Colorado Online University System that prompted us to upgrade Read Ahead for fluency in Spanish, even the artificial intelligence engine. There are many interesting use cases for Read Ahead out there, so it's hard to choose one for this demo, but I've settled on a middle grades example for a reading assignment on natural disasters. This collection of assignments provides examples of simple web content transformed into guided reading activities for multiple purposes. First, let me show you an example presentation. This presentation will highlight supporting details in one reading passage on Georgia's natural disasters. This shows you what the reading experience is like for students. They can let it play, or they can directly control the speed and flow of the words. They can move backwards and forwards through the words and segments of text. This shows you the basic reading features. To chunk up the reading assignment into manageable and emphasized sections, to present keywords and ideas before the segments to help students begin to make predictions, call on prior knowledge, and connect to their personal experiences. This helps them create a mental model of the text before tackling the fuller segments. Notice also that definitions are available. It is possible to minimize the player window and interact with the words to find definitions. Before we go more specifically into how to integrate these presentations into lesson plans, I'd like to preview for you the many different types of assignments and reading strategies that might be highlighted in this way. This is a group of assignments, all on the same text. You see here that you could emphasize parts of speech, you can emphasize reading strategies, you can leave it open as a blank canvas for students just to highlight those things that they found interesting and be able to simulate their reading experience for their peers. Or you can use our Smart Skimmer to let them outsmart the Smart Skimmer. I'll go into that more specifically in a moment. Now that you've seen the basic reading functionality of Read Ahead, I'd like to show you two foundational ways to use it. These are the building blocks: independent sustained silent reading and task-oriented reading. Independent sustained silent reading. This is where we started with our Read Ahead research, and this is where most lessons start, with a reading assignment. It's pretty simple, but it packs a punch when you use Read Ahead and lesson scaffolds like supplemental instruction and comprehension checks. Our efficacy study with 10th graders showed twice the gains in reading comprehension and motivation in less than one full school year. If you take the lesson we just covered on independent sustained silent reading and ask students to go back and make their own word selections for what should be emphasized in the text, you've got a reading strategy activity or a scaffold for task-oriented reading. Students can be asked to select responses for many different purposes, from the basics of identifying main ideas and supporting details to the advanced levels of interpretation and applying a critical lens. They get feedback on their choices by comparing with their peers' choices and their teachers' choices. Let's return to the Georgia Natural Disaster Group and choose Outsmart the Smart Skimmer. This Smart Skimmer function is our artificial intelligence engine. It works from an algorithmic mix of natural language processing, semantic rules that I introduced after 15 years of teaching English, and your input. It is a machine learner, so it is always learning based on the choices that users make. As you can see, the Smart Skimmer needs to be smarter. but it's the perfect foil for students so they are not looking at a blank page. Have you ever used the strategy of giving students half-completed or even incorrect answers in order to engage their contrariness? Prime the pump, so to say. With these choices made, students can begin to outsmart the smart skimmer by making better or different choices. These activities can be individual, or you could have students collaborate to make choices and come to a consensus of the best reading of a text by having them work through the text together and provide rationale for their decisions. Notice our export word list functionality. For example, you could give students limits of information they can choose from a text to complete an assignment, and then only allow them to use their exported word list to refer to while working on the assignment. Or better, allow them to skim back and forth through their presentation to find answers quickly. You can also import word lists. If there is a high-frequency academic word list you're working on, or if you have some words that are based on your content that you want to emphasize in everything that students read, you can import that word list into Read Ahead and always have those words highlighted when your students are reading. Everyone is invited to participate. Read Ahead provides a forum for students and teachers to share their reading experiences and lessons. We incentivize participation with free, reusable course materials and mutual admiration. The forum is simple. Public presentations can be copied and favorited. Thank you for your interest in this special section on how Read Ahead supports teachers. Read Ahead was designed by teachers and continues to be refined by teachers. At a high level, when a teacher designs lesson plans, they are trying to do three things: prepare students for test taking, prepare students for the next level, and prepare students for life. Preparing students for tests is a moving target. The standards that the tests are based on change frequently, and the content that the tests are based on in our information age changes rapidly. So we've designed Read Ahead to be adaptable, customizable, and revisable. Since Read Ahead is a dynamic tool, not pre-produced content, we don't have to go back and redo everything as standards and content evolve. Standards can be uploaded and replaced in the cloud and clicked on for tagging new or reusable content when needed. Lessons on new content that may have even been published today can be created in seconds. Preparing students for the next level is a really big challenge. Even if a teacher has perfectly aligned lessons and covers all of the material, will students remember it next semester, next year, next week? And will it matter to them at all? Right now, most content lessons in all subjects except math start with reading assignments. But we know that most students don't like to read, and many of them aren't very good at it. Read Ahead is designed to ask students to lean into the reading experience and give them repeated exposure to relevant ideas. They are asked to engage directly with the text and make choices about what is important. This act invites them into discussion and negotiation of the concepts, creating a memorable experience and giving the work a sense of purpose. Now, this is what we teachers are really in it for: preparing students for life. I have a question for you. As part of your daily work, what you need to get done today, or have ever needed to get done while you were at work. How often were you presented with a multiple choice question, answered it, got it right or wrong, and that was the work you needed to do? It's possible that a few of you actually do this in our line of work of creating educational content. But in general, outside of this rare and limited context, who takes multiple choice tests as part of their daily work? No one. Now, as part of your daily work, and the work you need your team members to be able to do, how often do you need to know how to quickly process and filter information offered to you in black and white text? Pretty dang often, constantly. So that's what we're doing with Read Ahead. Asking students to consistently filter information for relevant ideas, see how others have processed that same information, share how they have processed that information, and be able to provide rationale for their choices and negotiate meaning with others. Now let's think about this from the student's perspective. Thinking about the student's experience requires being really honest with ourselves. Many, if not most, students are not interested in their schoolwork, but they know they have to do it. So starting from their role as a student and what they have to do and moving to what's in it for them, let's take a look at how Read Ahead engages students. The student's first motivation is just to comply, to get the work that has been assigned done. Read Ahead makes this job more palatable. We quickly chunk up the information, give them a skim, and give them control to click through it. Their next motivation is to perform well, to jump through whatever hoop is placed in front of them with success. In a lot of ways, frequent multiple choice testing can be demotivating for this goal because the parameters are so restrictive, right or wrong. Students who have a history of frequently being told they made the wrong choice will of course be reluctant to receive this negative feedback again. So how do we lead students to better choices with positive reinforcement? Read Ahead invites students to make choices as part of a comparative and negotiated process of meaning making. We don't propose that there are no right answers. We propose an alternative path to considering what those answers are and how to arrive at those answers. This invitation lets students discover more about the world and more about themselves. They can work with new information as it is published, share their reading experiences and perspective, and be exposed to alternative perspectives of their peers and teachers in a way that is communicative and collaborative rather than prescriptive and corrective. Are you ready to use Read Ahead? Please look through the rest of our website for more information and sign up today. You will find our Read Ahead toolbox that provides teacher instructions, student instructions, and example lessons and groups with Read Ahead content. To get started with Read Ahead at a school or district level, please contact me and your school IT coordinator to see about getting your school hooked up for all of your users. Cleverworks great, but we have other ways to do it too. I am also available to visit your school in person if you are near Atlanta, or through Zoom anywhere. I have conducted several professional development sessions for groups from Georgia to Puerto Rico, from Colorado to India, and I would be glad to prepare a workshop for your school or district. I look forward to seeing you and your students' Read Ahead creations soon.